Hello everyone, welcome to Broadview. My name is Joseph. Earlier we wrapped up a discussion on ancient and modern prophecies. Today, let's continue this fascinating topic. There's a manga called The Future I Saw. The manga was published in 1999, but it didn't attract much attention at the time. It wasn't until 12 years later that the book became popular overnight. On March 11, 2011, Japan experienced the strongest earthquake in its recorded history. This disaster is often referred to as 3/11. Afterwards, the owners of this old manga immediately noticed that on the cover illustration, it has the handwritten Japanese words that say, "A great catastrophe will occur in March 2011. In the manga, the disaster scenes contain strikingly similar details to the real-life event. There's a total of 15 precognitive dreams illustrated in the manga. Since 1999, 10 of these dreams had already turned into reality. 3 of the dreams haven't been fulfilled yet though, while 2 are too vague to be understood. Many people wanted a copy of the manga to take a closer look at the remaining predictions, but they couldn't get a hold of it because the book had been out of print for years. In October 2021, the author Ryo Tatsuki published the complete version of The Future I Saw. The reprint added new precognitive dreams that she had had after 1999. On the cover, these words were added: "The true Great Catastrophe will occur in July 2025. Today, let's talk about the events described in this manga. The Future I Saw is not a novel, but rather a manga. The author drew herself as the main character. In the manga, the character's open and straightforward from the beginning. She admits, 'I don't have psychic abilities, but I can see into the future.' Then she tells her friend about her past dreams and explains how they all came true one by one. So it's fair to say that the manga reflects the true personal experience of Ryo Tatsuki. She started to keep a dream diary as early as 1976 when she was 22 years old. As a manga artist, she wrote her dreams down as inspirations for her future artworks, but she had no idea that one by one these dreams would later come true. The Future I Saw is a compilation of her dream diary and illustrates 15 of her precognitive dreams. Since she has the habit of noting down the date of her dreams and the date of realization that she saw while dreaming, it makes her predictions even more convincing. The most widely known dream in the manga is about 3/11 earthquake that I briefly covered at the beginning. The dream diary showed that she had a nightmare about this earthquake on March 11, 1996. 15 years later, the Great Earthquake struck on March 11th, the exact same day as her dream. In the book, published in 1999, she described the scenes in her dream. "I had another strange dream on March 11th, 1996, and this time I'm so scared that it would come true. In the dream, I was awakened by a strange sound. I got up, but didn't know where I was. I looked at my watch. It was 5 o'clock, but I couldn't tell if it was early morning or late afternoon. It looked very dark outside, so I got out to take a look. On the street, all of the buildings were destroyed. The buildings along the shore were also submerged in seawater. I then realized that an earthquake and tsunami had just swept the area. The accurate details in this dream shocked many people, while some still questioned. The 3/11 earthquake happened at 2:46 p.m. The 5 o'clock that she saw didn't make sense. Maybe she didn't accurately predict the future after all. My thinking is that perhaps her dream was about the aftermath of the quake, so it's reasonable that the time she saw was a little later. While dreaming about the earthquake, she only knew that it was March 2011. She didn't know about the exact date. She also didn't know the exact location. In 2006, she had experienced the same earthquake again in another dream. This time, she saw that the catastrophe happened somewhere in eastern Japan, so she added this note to her diary. Unexpectedly, 5 years later, a devastating earthquake and tsunami hit eastern Japan. It seems that Tatsuki's prophecies follow a cycle. Usually the predictions came true exactly 5, 10, or even 15 years later. One of her earliest precognitive dreams occurred in November 1976. In the dream, she was watching TV. The news broadcast announced that the lead singer Freddie Mercury from the rock band Queen passed away because of an infectious disease. She didn't know the exact date of his death though. She wrote the dream down in her diary and noted the date of the dream, November 1976. 10 years later, on November 28, 1986, she dreamt of the rock band again. All of the band members were together except for Freddie. She saw that he had turned into a metal statue. 5 years later, on November 24, 1991, Freddie died of pneumonia resulting from AIDS. Freddie's death also happened exactly 15 years after her first precognitive dream. She also had a precognitive dream about the death of Princess Diana on August 31st, 1992, while in reality, Princess Diana passed away on August 31st, 1997. There were exactly 5 years in between. She had another strange dream on April 25th, 1982. She dreamt about a famous rock singer dying young, but she didn't know him. 10 years later, on April 25th, 1992, the famous Japanese rock singer Yutaka Ozaki passed away suddenly at the age of 26. Yutaka Ozaki made his debut in 1983, while Tatsuki dreamt about him in 1982. There's no wonder she didn't know about him at the time. Since all of Tatsuki's dreams are coming true in real life, she started thinking, if she warned the upcoming victims, would they be able to escape in advance? But would they even believe her? Tatsuki kept asking herself this question. A subsequent event finally pushed Tatsuki to make up her mind to publish a book about her dreams. The Future I Saw. On January 2nd, 1995, Tatsuki had a terrifying dream about a major disaster in Kobe, Japan. She saw the ground cracking open. 15 days later, on January 17, 1995, a 7.3 magnitude earthquake struck the Kobe region. The Kobe earthquake left 6,434 dead and over 43,000 injured. This tragic event gave Tatsuki the courage and determination to publicize her dreams. She let go of the fear of being verbally attacked or ridiculed because she believed that her dreams could warn others about future catastrophes and help save lives. In 1999, she published the manga The Future I Saw. The same night she dreamt about the Kobe earthquake, she also had another dream. It was this dream that made her popular again in 2020. Tatsuki wrote in her diary, "In 25 years, an unknown virus will arrive in 2020. It will disappear after reaching its peak in April, and it will reappear 10 years later." Parts of her prediction are slightly different from the actual situation though, because the virus is still spreading until today. For the second half of her prediction about the virus reappearing, we'll have to wait until 2030 to find out. But her shockingly accurate prediction about the outbreak of coronavirus already spoke for her prophetic credibility. But Tatsuki didn't view herself as a prophet. She thinks of herself as just a dreamer. She simply writes down all of the memorable details in her dreams. For example, when she saw a string of numbers or a few words in her dreams, she wrote them down without knowing their meaning and leave it to the readers to interpret the information. Last October, Tatsuki published the complete version of The Future I Saw. She added new content to the original book. The most alarming change about the new book are these words added on the cover. The true Great Catastrophe will occur in July 2025. Let's get down to the details about this prophecy. Tatsuki revealed that in the 1990s, she had a dream in which she went to the Pacific coast of Japan and looked down on the Pacific Ocean from a satellite view. The ocean was very calm at first, but it didn't take her long to notice that gas bubbles kept rising up to the water's surface, as if the water was going to boil. She woke up without going further into the dream, so she didn't include this dream in her first book. On July 5th, 2021, the dream reappeared. Again, she saw the rising gas bubbles. As time passed, the bubbling got more intense and the ocean level continued to rise. A frightening scene followed. A giant tsunami 3 times taller than the 311 tsunami charged for the coast from all directions. 1/3 of Japan got flooded in a second. A new continent rose above the ocean and it connected Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. In the dream, she saw the date of the disaster, July 5th, 2025. When she woke up, she drew the scene and wrote down, "Don't say please evacuate, but rather quickly evacuate." In the summer of 1981, Tatsuki dreamt that a tsunami struck Yokohama at 5 a.m. The tsunami washed her away and then she woke up. Until now, this hasn't yet happened. The second dream occurred on August 20th, 1991. She saw a massive volcanic eruption of Mount Fuji in her dream. This is also written on the cover of her book. Tatsuki claims that her prophecies follow a 15-year cycle. She predicted that the cycle of the eruption is 15 years. But if something she predicts doesn't happen, then an additional 15 years must be added. So the next time it happens would be 30 years from now or 45 years from now. Since Mount Fuji did not erupt in 2006 or 2021, then there's a high probability, if we follow this pattern, that it'll occur on August 20th, 2036. The concern about Mount Fuji eruption is real. Mount Fuji used to be a very active volcano. Historical records show that before the last eruption in 1707, Mount Fuji had erupted 17 times in less than 1,000 years, for an average of once every 50 years. But it's been 315 years since the last eruption in 1707. Since the volcano is active, the next eruption could happen at any time from now. Speaking of the eruption of Mount Fuji, it reminds me of the recent volcanic eruption in Tonga. The moment catastrophe struck, the whole country instantly experienced a power blackout and seemed to have disappeared from the planet. Later, the New Zealand government sent ships to Tonga and found out that the majority of the people were okay. The tsunami impacted the coast of California. It's even seen Pacific-wide in Japan. It's forecasted that the Mount Fuji eruption will create the same devastating effect, but we don't know exactly when it'll happen. The third unrealized dream was about her own funeral, but she only saw the date of July 15th without knowing the year. Based on her dream about the Great Tsunami on July 5th, 2025, Tatsuki thinks she's likely going to pass away from this tsunami. Due to the book's popularity and high accuracy, people began to examine every little detail. The original book cover illustrates a young lady, presumably the author, who is seen crying and covering her left eye with her hand. Her cheek is wounded. In the manga world, the left eye sees the past, while the right eye sees the future. Exposing only the right eye means the young lady is looking into the future. In the new book cover, the tears and the wound on the young girl's face are gone. So some are speculating, is the author no longer seeing a tragic future? Tatsuki answered this question in the manga. Even though she knows that the disasters in her dreams would really happen, she saw while dreaming that many lives were saved because considerable preparations were made in advance. In fact, the moment before she woke up from her dream, she saw a vibrant and lively new world. She believes that after the disaster, a more wonderful world awaits. At the same time, the hearts and souls of the survivors would be purified and uplifted. Well, what do you think of this prophetic comic? Do you think it's purely an urban legend, or do you think it's probably true? You're welcome to leave your comments below. Someone actually joked that Elon Musk must know about this, and that's why he's desperately trying to get humans to Mars by 2024. Well, that's it for today's program. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.